Hello, I'm Amy the Bunny Lady, and this is my partner Elusive, Ellie for short. Give me a kiss. And today we are going to talk about your trip to the vet. What do you need to prepare for it? If you are new to my channel, welcome. We give tips and tricks for how to make sure you have a happy and healthy bunny in your home. So if that's the kind of thing you're interested in, go ahead and hit the subscription button and the notification bell so that you never miss any of our weekly videos. Just like your cat or dog, or yourself, you need to go to the doctor about once a year for an annual exam. So for rabbits, that means an annual vet visit with their regular rabbit doctor so that they can just get a checkup, make sure everything's going okay. Make sure their teeth aren't getting too long and they are healthy all around. Other than their annual vet visit, you should really only have to bring your rabbit to the vet if they are sick. So if they're showing signs of sickness, especially if they're not eating or not pooping. Those are two emergency signs. You will also need to bring your rabbit to the vet to get their spay and neuter surgery. And if you live in the UK, you will need to get your rabbit vaccinated. I believe that is annually vaccinated. It's not available in the US, so I'm not sure. But I think it's every year you'll need to get your rabbit 2 different vaccines. But that is something that you can check on with your regular rabbit veterinarian. With rabbits, it is actually important to find a specialized rabbit vet. So you don't want to go to just any veterinarian out there, because most vets are going to be specialized in cat and dog care, and it's actually a little bit different than rabbit care. They have a unique anatomy that really requires specialized instructions, so what you want to do is look for a rabbit veterinarian. They might also be called an exotic animal veterinarian or a small mammal veterinarian. Anything like that is really what you want to look for. They will have the specialized knowledge that they need to make sure that they're not giving your rabbit any dangerous antibiotics and that they are giving you the correct instruction to make sure you're taking good care of your rabbit. If you're living in the US, the House Rabbit Society, which is the #1 rabbit education organization, they have a list of rabbit veterinarians. Most states will try to keep their list up to date, but it's possible that you'll find vets that are not on the list also. But it's a good place to start. I will link to it in the description below, but you can go search for your state and then see what rabbit veterinarians are on file. Usually it's the chapter, the state chapter, that keeps it up to date, so it kind of depends on how active your chapter is. But that is a good place to start. They have a couple of international listings, but not all that many. So you may have to just do a Google search and look for rabbit veterinarian or exotic animal veterinarian in your area, and Google will give you a nice list of some nearby veterinarians. Now you're ready to go to the vet. You found a good rabbit savvy veterinarian for your fluffy friend, and you need to know how to transport your rabbit there. You do need some kind of carrier. You don't want to just hold your rabbit and bring him into the office. Even if you have your rabbit leash trained and they can walk on a leash, it's usually vet offices are not the kind of place where you want your rabbit to be outside of an enclosure. Almost all of them are within practices that also have cats and dogs, and that can be really scary for rabbits, and it can also be potentially dangerous for the other animals there, where they might get scared or they might all of a sudden get more aggressive because they see a rabbit around. You will definitely want a carrier for your rabbit. Now when it comes to the carrier, you want to make sure that it is large enough for your rabbit. You want them to be able to go in and turn around without having an issue. However, you also don't want to have a carrier that is too big. A carrier that's too big can potentially be dangerous in car rides. So if you ever need to make a short stop or going around a corner a little bit too fast, it can end up throwing your rabbit against the side of the carrier. And if it's too big and there's too much space for them to travel, they hit it, it can end up being dangerous for your rabbit. They may end up getting injured. So you do want to make sure that, yes, it's big enough that they can maybe turn in a circle, turn around and be okay, but you don't want it to be too big. When I'm going short distances, I use this soft-sided one that it's a little small, but she can turn around in it, and the soft side will be less likely to cause injury to her. But if you are going a longer distance, you'll probably want to get a slightly larger carrier than the one that I'm showing here. And of course, you need to take your own rabbit size into account, because some rabbits are, tiny 2-pound rabbits, and then, some rabbits can be 10 plus pounds. Keep that in mind when you are getting a carrier for your little bunny. If your carrier has a slick or slippery bottom to it, like many plastic carriers, then you're going to want to put a towel or a mat down for their footing. Slick footing is not necessarily great for a rabbit's back. It can potentially cause injury. And since car rides are pretty stressful as is for rabbits, you want to give them a chance to have some footing and kind of hunker down in this stressful situation and reduce the chance of injury as much as possible. When you do bring your rabbit to the vet, for the most part, you actually don't need to bring all that much with you, especially if it's just for their annual checkup. But there are some things that it's good to have. You definitely want to make sure you bring any of your rabbit's medical records. So if you adopted them from a shelter, or if you were previously going to a different vet, you want to make sure you have a copy of their medical records with you so that your vet can help you as much as possible, because they'll have your whole rabbit's history. It is also a good idea to bring a fecal sample with you. So scoop in a little handful of your rabbit's poops into a little baggie. You want it to be poops from the last 24 hours. That way it's the freshest possible for your vet to test. They can test for any signs of parasites or something like that. Not all vets are going to do this every time. My vet only had me bring a fecal sample the first time, and since she's an indoor rabbit, he said it really wasn't necessary after that. But if your rabbit spends time outside, it's probably a good idea to bring a fecal sample pretty much every time you go to your annual visit, just to make sure that, everything is staying healthy. You want to make sure you keep hay in your rabbit's carrier with them. Now, they might not be munching on it, especially while they're in the car, but it's still always good to be there so that they can munch on it if they can. With Ellie, oftentimes, car rides are stressful for rabbits, so she won't be munching on it in the car. But then once we're in the waiting room in the vet's office, that's when she'll start to munch on it a little bit, because that's when she's starting to calm down and feel a little bit better. It's also a good idea to bring water with you, especially if it's going to be a long trip. I usually will put some water in this little container and bring it with me, and then once we're in the examination room and Ellie is let out of the carrier, I'll give her the option to take a drink if she wants, though most of the time she'll just ignore it. If you are going on a longer trip, like your vet is a little bit farther away, then you'll probably want to get one of the bigger carriers so that you can clip a water bottle onto the side and they'll be able to drink there when they want to. If your rabbit may be staying for an extended period of time, for example, if you are bringing them in to get spayed or neutered, or there's some kind of emergency situation, your rabbit is sick and you're not sure if they're going to stay overnight, then you're also going to want to pack some of their pellets. As much as possible, you want your rabbit to be eating the same food that they're used to once they recover from a surgery. So packing some of their normal daily pellets will be useful for after they wake up and after the surgery, so that they can hopefully start eating right away, they'll be used to it, and their digestion will be used to it. It's not really a necessary thing to pack if you're just going for an annual exam, though. Vet visits can be kind of stressful for rabbits, both the car ride and then being in an unfamiliar space with unfamiliar smells. It can all be kind of overwhelming for a rabbit, so you want to do what you can to make this as stress-free as possible. It's never going to be a completely stress-free situation for a rabbit, but there are still steps you can take to help keep them calm. The thing you should start with is when you're getting your rabbit into the enclosure. If you can get your rabbit to go into the enclosure on their own, that is ideal, because then automatically you're starting at a less stressful baseline. Because picking your rabbit and placing them in and then closing the door on them, that can be a little bit like, hey wait, I'm not okay with this, and it can be automatically kind of stressful. So what you can do is try to lure your rabbit in to the carrier. So place a little treat in there to try and get them to go in. Put it on the floor for a while so that they can check it out. Oftentimes rabbits would be curious and they'll want to go check out this new little cave thing, and they'll eventually just go in on their own. Car rides are the next stressful part for your rabbit. In general, the vibration of the car and then the movement, it's just a very uncomfortable feeling for rabbits, and they just get very anxious about car rides. If possible, when you go to the vet, see if you can get someone else to drive the car. I know that's not always possible, but see if you can do that, and then you can sit with your rabbit, talk to them gently. A lot of times carriers will have like a little hole you can put your hand through so that you can pet your rabbit and keep them calm while you're in the car. Now once you get to the waiting room, now we have another stressful situation for your rabbit, because there are other animals, some of which are predators that go after rabbits, and all these sights and smells can be very nerve-wracking for a little bunny. So here's another stressful situation, and you have to do what you can to keep your rabbit calm. So one thing you can do is, like in the car, talk softly to your rabbit, let them know that everything is okay. Maybe try to stick your hands in and pet them a little bit, but don't actually open the carrier to do this. It's just if the carrier has one of those holes to stick your hand in. If your rabbit is getting really nervous, you can bring a towel with you and drape it over the carrier so that your rabbit can't see anything, and it will feel more like a cave and a hiding spot for them. Then during the wellness exam, this part's usually a little less stressful for rabbits, though there are some kind of hands-on exams that the doctor's going to have to do. But usually you're allowed to stay with your rabbit, and you can pet them and let them know that everything is okay. You can watch them check your rabbit's teeth, you can watch them check your rabbit's ears, and just stay with your rabbit, talk calmly to them, and let them know that everything is okay. Sometimes they'll have to take your rabbit out back to do blood work, or in some cases take x-rays if you're in because your rabbit is sick. And if that's the case, just know that the vet will handle it. If you have a rabbit-savvy vet, then you know that they're experienced in rabbits and you can trust them. And then once your rabbit comes back, you can just settle down with them, calm them down, get them back in the carrier, and just, keep talking softly, pet them if you can. If you need to drape the towel over the carrier, that's fine. After you get home from this stressful situation, you will want to open the carrier and then let your rabbit come out on their own, just like you let them go in on their own. You can offer them a treat. Some rabbits will give you the cold shoulder for a while and they won't take the treat, but most of the time offer them a treat as a good job, as a reward for being a good bun, and then leave them alone for a while, because after this stressful situation, most rabbits will groom themselves and go kind of sleep it off for a while before they're ready to be playful again. Just give them time and don't worry about it, and respect your rabbit's boundaries, because they went through a stressful situation, but they'll be fine once they have some time to themselves. So if you want more information about rabbits and rabbit care and rabbit health and everything along those lines, then go ahead and check out my other videos. I have lots of information for you about rabbits that I hope you will find very useful. Hit the subscription button and the notification bell so that you will always be notified of my new videos. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.